I need $1 billion. That's the definition of a unicorn. Luckily, I work in education, an industry that will experience nothing but growth. Or will it? In the EdTech industry, unicorns are exceptionally rare, and they're getting even more rarer. In this video, we tackle that question by talking to industry professionals, teachers, and a real-life unicorn to figure out what the investor and startup trends are in the EdTech universe. All of this with the eventual goal of launching my very own EdTech unicorn. As we've said before, a unicorn is a startup that is valued at over $1 billion. Basically, building a unicorn is every entrepreneur's dream. And now, mine too. Which is when it struck me. I work in education. I talk about it all the time. Why not profit from this and launch my very own EdTech unicorn? Think about it. What's the market here? Everyone who's ever learned anything? That's like 8 billion people. It's a piece of cake. First things first, I decided to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about for once. Someone with experience in the EdTech scene. This is why I have Dr. Ida Pugh with me.
Okay, well, not to paint a too bleak picture or anything, but it's not doing as well as one might expect perhaps. So it's actually 3 times more likely to become a unicorn if you're not an EdTech startup.
In fact, when analyzing VC-backed EdTech startups, they found that only 0.65% of those rise to unicorn stardom. And that number is significantly lower when we exclude Chinese unicorns who have lost their unicorn status after China banned private tutoring in 2021.
So Holon IQ actually states that the number of EdTech unicorns has dropped from 40 to 13. And this was in January 2023.
According to the analysis conducted by the consulting firm Gemic, the chances of launching an EdTech unicorn aren't quite as good as I had hoped. And this is all further complicated by the fact that historically, EdTech has actually received more funding on average than other industries. So these unicorns aren't really appearing at the rate that we would expect them to be. That won't discourage me, however. I've faced harder odds and prevailed before. All I need is a little venture capital investment of my own, and then the magic will happen. Shouldn't be too hard.
So actually, the number of VC deals is lowest that it's been in 10 years.
I needed to get to the bottom of this. Why is it that VCs are being scared off by the EdTech market? Could it be that the market isn't going to experience as much growth as we had anticipated?
Well, it's not really a demand issue because actually the amount people are spending on EdTech is high and it's getting higher. According to projections by Morgan Stanley, consumer spending on EdTech is actually expected to increase quite a bit. So from 250 billion to 620 billion by 2030.
So if it isn't a demand issue, then what is it? Our investigation has led us to 2 main problems with the EdTech market. What do investors care about the most? Like any rational person like myself, it's cash money. They're thinking about their return on investment, and apparently that doesn't look too good for EdTech. In case you couldn't tell, education isn't the best industry for making money. There are a few factors influencing this. First of all, schools and educational institutions more generally are very difficult clients. Think of it this way, have you ever tried to ask your teacher for a deadline extension? But then the teacher just shakes their head saying, Abdullah, this is the 3rd extension you've asked for, and all you've done in class is eat erasers and make jokes, which I didn't. And then you reply back, I swear I'm doing my work. It's just that this essay is such a big and important essay that it needs more time so I can write even more essay. And then after nodding and thinking about it, the teacher's like, Abdullah, this is maths class. And then I say, then why are there so many letters? Now try selling something to them. In reality though, most of the time this isn't actually on the teachers. They're not typically the ones that make the purchasing decisions. That's instead made at the school leadership or even the district level. This makes it so that schools are a bit of a nightmare to sell to. Not only do you not sell to the end user, but you also have to go through a lot of hoops and a lot of legwork just to acquire a single client. And sometimes it is only a single client. In extreme cases like Jordan, for example, there is a single entity that makes decisions on behalf of all public schools in the country. 85% of all schools. Okay, let's assume you cracked the code and you're able to sell to schools, make it lucrative, and make it profitable. Congratulations. Now do it again with another group of schools, with a new curriculum, a new language, new purchasing procedures, and you understand why it's so difficult to scale in EdTech. And this is why you'll see that most of the existing EdTech unicorns don't actually sell to schools or universities, but to individuals, which presents its own set of scalability challenges. Selling an unessential good like learning outside of school requires a massive marketing budget and a creative marketing team to push the product either through content sponsorships.
Then you might like to check out Brilliant.
Lucky for me, I don't have to worry about marketing. With an army of unpaid interns, I already have a captive audience, in more ways than one. And if you'd like to join Eden's unpaid internship program, all you have to do is click the subscribe button. While we don't offer university credit, the experience is invaluable and the effects irreversible. With my captive audience in place, I shouldn't have a problem with marketing. However, unfortunately, the EdTech market is riddled with another problem: quality. Nearly everyone has gone through an education of some kind, and as a result, people have very strong feelings about the topic. And as evidenced by this channel here, all types of people are comfortable acting like they're experts in education. Consequently, most times out of 10, the average EdTech entrepreneur hasn't actually stepped into a classroom since they looked like this. I say this not to belittle the role outsiders can play to shake up an industry. Just look at how my interns react when they see a cat walk past the office window. I say this more to illustrate the reason why the phrase, "yeah, but that wouldn't work in a classroom," has been repeated by every teacher who has heard their unemployed roommate's EdTech pitch.
Often pushing EdTech solutions to teachers, it might sometimes come across as tone deaf. Teachers might feel like this is not actually what I'm looking for. I have very different problems, and these new EdTech solutions that are now being sold to us post-pandemic, they are not actually fixing what I want to fix.
This would be fine, however, if schools and students weren't such difficult users to build for. We've already discussed how difficult it is to sell to schools. Now just imagine how difficult it would be to test a product on the students.
Hey Tony, you teach kids, right?
Yeah.
Would you mind showing them this in your next class? It'll take like a couple of hours max.
My class is only 45 minutes.
Oh, that's fine. You can do it over a few lessons. I don't mind. I can wait. And with one more test case, we can prove our product improves learning outcomes by 25%. I love it, but not my call. I love it, but it's not my call. I love it, but it's not my call. I love it, but it's not my call. How on earth did you get into my office?
The complex procurement environment makes it so that the end user aren't the people that you're actually selling to. All of this culminates in a sharp hit to the quality of the products that many EdTech startups can offer. Having a cross-functional team of business people, developers, and educators who also have access to schools and students that they can test their product on ethically is a tall order. Lucky for me, however, I don't have to worry about things like ethics. My team of interns assume all of my responsibilities and my problems. But I'm sure that I'm not the only person with an expendable team of affordable laborers and guinea pigs that I can test on. Does this mean that there is no hope for my EdTech unicorn? If we jump back to the graph we showed you earlier, you'll notice there's a slight increase in the number of VC deals between 2023 and 2024. Could this mean that VCs are recovering their post-COVID appetite for trying to replace teachers with computers? It begs the question, aside from global production and transportation, digital habits, world economies, and workplace cultures, has anything really changed after COVID? Investors have scrambled to throw money at anything with AI in its name. which is why my friend Aidan woke up the other day with paper cuts and no more student loans. Could it be that the EdTech industry is following the same trend?
We actually expect to see a lot more funding streaming towards companies and solutions that are leveraging AI technology for education solutions. The fact that EdTech companies are not getting VC funding is perhaps not the end of the world. So it's not necessary for education players to have VC funding to actually succeed and to have great products.
What could this mean for the world of EdTech investing? Well, like most other industries, the actual impact of AI in education isn't quite clear. However, it does seem to have injected new life into what was becoming a more jaded industry. And this has injected new life into this jaded entrepreneur's dream of becoming a billionaire. By combining everything we have learnt so far, a diverse team, willing test subjects, greedy investors, and artificial intelligence, I have created the perfect EdTech startup.
Teaching. It can be one of the most rewarding jobs in the world, but also the most stressful. And the reason for all this stress? The worst part about being a teacher. That's right, students. Rowdy, ungrateful, and vengeful. More teachers than ever are leaving the profession, and while the reasons may vary on paper, we all really know why. But what if there was a solution to all this? Imagine teaching in an environment with no disciplinary issues, no late assignments, where you can execute your lesson plan exactly as you had planned it, no hiccups, no disruptions, and most importantly, all while being appreciated and valued for the work you're putting in. Well, now this is all possible with our latest offering, AI Student. So imagine the perfect student, the kind that hangs on to every word you say, says thank you after the lesson, confirms their understanding of what you just said, and sometimes, just sometimes, asks a question. Discipline, detention, now things of the past with AI Student. Our algorithm has been trained on some of the world's best students, from the son of an apple farmer, to the child craving parental approval, to the kid deprived of any screen time until he was 18. AI Student has it all. Of course, we know that teaching is a profession with, at best, delayed gratification, if any at all. So, with our Diamond in the Rough feature, you can now fast forward 50 years into the future, where your now successful student is receiving their Lifetime Achievement Award, and of course is attributing all their success to their favorite teacher, you. So don't hesitate to go to aistudent.com and use code APPRECIATEME for your first order.